Mia Khalifa is quite literally the most famous adult film star of all time despite only being in the industry for 3 months. Her most infamous video where she wore a hijab while doing it with 2 other people garnered her overnight success and overnight hate from all across the world. This one video started a domino effect where it made her the most searched for actress on these websites for years and basically made her a celebrity. However, many people were shocked when years later she revealed that from her entire time in the industry she only made $12,000. Mia would come forward to reveal just how evil the industry was, how it completely ruined her life, and how a company completely manipulated her. The world started to see her as a victim of an evil and controlling industry that completely exploited her for profit. But is that really the story? Now, over the years, Mia's story seems to change with lots and lots of different contradictions. She says that she got started when she was approached by a shady businessman to do nude modeling and then was slowly manipulated into doing adult videos. Yet there's evidence of her posting explicit content on the internet for free way before this happened. There's records of her working as a stripper, and at the time she stated that she was excited to do adult videos. She says that she only made $12,000 and was in the industry for 3 months, yet the company that signed her claims that she made over $170,000 and was in the industry for nearly 3 years. She claims that the industry is evil and that she wants nothing to do with it, yet turns around and then makes an OF. Is Mia Khalifa truly a victim of the industry like she says she is, or is this simply all a lie to benefit off of her image? Let's cut the bullshit and get right into it. Now, Mia was born in 1993 in Lebanon, which is a Muslim country. However, she was primarily raised as Catholic as her father is very, very devoted. She even has a Catholic symbol tatted on her hand. Now, it was in Lebanon where she attended a French private school that actually helped her learn English. But her family left Lebanon in 2011 during the Lebanon protests. These protests at the time were against Syrian occupation demonstration, and they got pretty violent as lots of people were arrested from it. So to get away from all of it, Mia and her family moved to the US. But coming into the US as a Middle Eastern family right after the 9/11 attacks did not do them a lot of favors. Being a Muslim or being a person of Middle Eastern descent was not a very easy time. In school, Mia was bullied relentlessly, constantly being called the darkest and weirdest kid.
I was the odd one out, and everyone was white and Jewish, and I wanted to have a bar mitzvah, and I wanted to do all of these things that everyone else was doing and eat the peanut butter jelly sandwiches in my lunch bag like everyone else. And there was a lot of bullying and a lot of things that ensued after 9/11 happened. So my childhood was a little rough. I didn't have too many friends.
And if that wasn't enough, she also was bullied for being overweight, which caused a lot of self-image issues. Because she had such a horrible life, she attended the Macedonian military school in Virginia. Now, it was at this school when she was 16 years old that she actually met her future husband. But the weird thing is, though, is that this guy was 23 at the time, making a 7-year difference. And if that wasn't weird enough, they got married right when she turned 18. So yeah, pretty gross. And the main reason Mia even did this was because her self-esteem was just so low.
I don't know. I had a lot of shame over being different, not being attractive, not getting any positive attention or validation from myself. So I sought for it elsewhere, and by the time I was 16, I was dating someone who was 23, and
you were looking for validation through men.
Now, after high school, Mia went to the University of Texas at El Paso. Mia claims that she graduated with a degree in history, even graduating early in 3 years.
So in military school, we took extra classes. Like, I lived there in the summer too. And all of those extra classes were college credits. So I was able to graduate college in 3 years because I had 3 years of high school, college credits earned.
However, there is actually no record proof of her graduating from this university. Her legal name is not in any of the commencement speeches during that period. And another conflicting aspect of the story was Mia's claim of her weight loss. Now, it was in college where she did take the time to finally lose some weight so that she could boost her self-esteem, losing around 50 pounds, which is quite a lot. But how she lost the weight is different depending on which interview you listen to. In one interview, she'll say that she did it by doing exercise and cutting out soda.
How did you lose? You lost 50 pounds exercising or starving or all of the above?
No, it was through exercise.
That's great.
The first thing I did was cut out soda. And also I don't drink that often. So I never had to worry about like beer weight or like wine calories or liquor and stuff. So
in another interview, she says that she did it by starving herself and abusing laxatives.
the weight in the worst possible way.
What do you mean? How did you do it?
Not eating, just being completely unhealthy, abusing laxatives, just doing all of these things to put my body through the ringer and lose this weight so drastically.
Now, I don't want to come off as disrespectful to eating disorders when talking about this because I know it's a very serious thing, but my personal guess is that she probably did turn to more unhealthy methods during this time and probably was just embarrassed to initially admit it. But even with the weight loss, Mia still suffered lots of insecurities. She was thinner now, but also had a lot of loose skin from all of the fat loss, and her tatas were pretty deformed.
Yeah, so the first thing to go was my boobs. And it wasn't just like, oh, now I have tiny, perky boobs. I looked like I had 4 kids, and I was, 20 years old? It was so detrimental to my self-esteem.
Yeah.
I hated being in a bikini. Like, I couldn't wear certain things. I couldn't even wear a bra without, like, the excess skin showing.
So to help get her confidence back, she decided to get a boob job. Mia did tons of research to find the best doctors, the best procedure, and the overall best deal. And this landed her straight to Miami.
Through college, I saved up for breast augmentation. And part of the reason I chose Miami was actually because I knew I didn't want to live in California, but the best doctors for that are in Beverly Hills. But the second best place is Coral Gables in Miami.
With these implants, Mia was having a huge glow up and was finally getting the attention that she so desperately craved. When walking down the street, men now gave her looks of lust rather than when she usually got looks of disgust. Now, it was in Miami where she lived with her husband and worked at Fuddruckers to make ends meet. Now, 3 years after she graduated from college, she was walking right outside of a mall in Miami when a car pulled up to her and made a hard stop. The car rolled its windows down and inside was a middle-aged man. He stared her up and down, saying that she was drop-dead gorgeous. He told her that she had the perfect body for nude modeling and gave her his contact card.
It was outside of a Fuddruckers in a strip mall. I was just walking across the street.
And a car literally stops dead on its tracks and rolls the window down, and they're like, "You are so gorgeous. Would you like to model for me? Like, can I give you my card?" Very professional looking. He was, dressed like you in a button-down, slacks. He got out of his car. He handed me a business card. He was a marketing executive. So he wasn't just like some sleazy producer. And then I went home and kind of thought about it, and then I went in and took a tour, and it's not so much like what you see on those Netflix documentaries, like where it's, in a dingy basement or
these are corporations, multi-billion-dollar corporations.
Really?
The company he was a part of was called Score Group, a very well-known adult film media company that has been in Miami for nearly 40 years. Initially, Mia was reluctant. I mean, that's not something you can just undo. But Mia was just now finally starting to get validation from men, the thing that she wanted more than anything. She wasn't used to getting this type of flattery from people, and honestly, it felt really, really good. Someone really thought that she was attractive enough to be a nude model. That was big for her, and eventually, she would agree. Mia claims that this was the very first start of her being recruited into the industry, the very moment that she, as a young girl, was first drawn into one of the darkest industries ever. And while this specific story is probably true, what's not very true is how this wasn't really her first time doing explicit content. Now, you see, Mia's husband played a much larger role in her career than most people really think, because Mia's husband was actually extremely addicted to porn.
He had a very unhealthy porn obsession. It was to the point where we never had sex unless he was watching porn first, and it was, that was just his twisted fantasy.
And before Mia became a professional, her and her husband actually posted lewd photos on a cuckolding subreddit. And if you don't know what cuck means, well, Google it, because I'm not gonna tell you.
Going to Reddit, I discovered a post talking about users named Dirty Chem and Dirty Chem's wife, who used to be in the cuckolding community. This is interesting because some claim them to be Mia and Wyatt before her rise to fame. It was from that lead that I uncovered lewd photos of Mia on multiple subreddits prior to her professional career, where she seems to tease her husband. She posted things such as, "Today I plan on going and getting f***ed by a guy who thinks I'm cheating on my husband with him, while he works late, and leaving this post on the computer alone with dinner sitting in front of it." The attached link shows her messaging a man named Cody who is excited to hook up with Mia. "I just want to get you already. Should I leave, LOL? Yes. Hallelujah. LMAO. There's even a follow-up of Wyatt finding out about her and Cody and getting excited. Here you can see Mia's hand on top of a man's lap that is presumably not her husband's, with her spouse responding, "Go on." Things got progressively racier from here, with the images and messages turning into posts showing full-on explicit acts. One Redditor states, "My wife likes to put something sexy on when my buddy comes over for our weekly poker game." Wyatt responded, "Whoa, that's awesome. You two should figure out a way to make sure all the guys see but act like it's a mistake. See who makes a move on her. Wyatt even answered questions about Mia and confirmed her identity in an Our Hot Wife post. That's my wife, not Indian though, Lebanese. She's been posted on this sub multiple times, LOL.
But this wasn't just it, because something that Mia doesn't really bring up that much was one of her side hustles during college. Now, in interviews, Mia claims that she made money as a bartender, a model, and also was a briefcase woman in the Spanish version of Deal or No Deal. But something Mia doesn't talk about was actually how she worked at a strip club in El Paso called Q Erotica in 2012, way before she ever claimed to be in the industry. There's literal videos of her giving lap dances, and obviously I have to censor it for YouTube, but the video here is clearly before 2014 because it was before she got her titty implants. She stopped working at this club around the same time that she claimed to have graduated and moved to Miami. So in reality, this whole career path wasn't exactly out of nowhere. For years, she was slowly easing into it and seemed to actually gravitate towards it. Maybe she was doing this as well to boost her self-esteem. Maybe she was doing this to get back at her parents. Maybe she saw it as quick, good money. But one reason that definitely contributed to it though was her husband, and he continued to be a factor for her career going forward. You see, when Mia initially got that offer to do nude modeling, her husband heavily encouraged her to do it, so she agreed to do it. And since Mia thought there was so much dirty stuff out there already, she thought that no one would really notice her. I think we all see how that ended. Initially, she went under the stage name Mia Khalifa and did 226 photos and 2 hours worth of video content. This also points out another flaw in Mia's story. The way Mia tells her story, she makes it sound like as if her first time ever doing adult video content was with Bang Bros, but clearly there's a decent amount of videos that she did with this company beforehand. Now, it was with Skorger where she started to get a little bit of buzz for herself, and this eventually led her doing a lot more adult video content with Bang Bros. Now, it was over there where she changed her name to Mia Khalifa, getting the name Mia from her dog and the last name Khalifa from the rapper Wiz Khalifa. Not gonna lie, for such a long time I actually thought these two were related. But soon after she signed, they actually discovered that she could speak Arabic, which gave the producers a unique idea for a video that would start everything. Mia would film a video where she wears a hijab while doing the dirty with 2 other people. When this video was uploaded, it exploded Mia in popularity, but not exactly for good reasons. This video was extremely offensive to Muslims all around the world. Mia wearing a religious piece of clothing while literally engaging in pornography, which is completely haram in the Muslim world, was very, very offensive, and especially to her home country of Lebanon. This was seen as a huge middle finger, as she was basically betraying her entire ethnicity just so that people could massage the monkey to her. The outrage that came from this was immeasurable, and all the hate was directed at the star of the show, Mia. Muslims around the world were infuriated with something that was so disrespectful to the religion. Mia was getting tons of death threats from all around Middle Eastern countries. Members of ISIS would go so far as to send her death threats as well. They even sent photoshopped images of her being beheaded. Mia was banned from several countries, including her own country of Lebanon, and her content there was strictly prohibited. This outrage was so big that her parents discovered it and literally disowned her. We are probably paying the price of living away from our homeland. Our kids had to adopt to societies that don't resemble our culture, traditions, and values. Hence, we emphasize that we dissociate ourselves from her actions which do not reflect our family beliefs, her upbringing, or her true Lebanon roots. We hope that she comes back to her senses, as her image does not honor her family or her homeland, Lebanon. Now, the publicity wasn't all bad though, as it gave Mia a household name. From this controversy, she gained 100,000 followers on Twitter and over 2 million followers on Instagram, even though her Instagram would soon get hacked by ISIS sympathizers. And in terms of the controversy, Mia was very quick to snap back at people hating on her. She tried to brush off the whole thing with humor and almost seemed to welcome the hate. On Twitter, Mia would literally make jokes to the people trying to shame her. One person said, "You do realize you'll be the first person in hellfire, right?" Mia responded with, "I've been meaning to get a little tan recently." When another person said, "Your head will be cut soon, inshallah," she said, "As long as it's not my tits, they were expensive. Doesn't the Middle East have more important things to worry about besides me? How about finding a president or containing ISIS?" And with her response, it seemed like as if she was expecting all this backlash and wasn't really too surprised. Am I surprised that some people are offended by hijab porn? No. Am I surprised that some people have resorted to death threats? Not in the slightest. I've received death threats on Twitter for things far less controversial. Mia tried to argue that the video was simply satire, that people were being pretty hypocritical by getting mad at her, but not really getting mad at the racist depictions of Muslims in Hollywood movies. There are Hollywood movies that depict Muslims in a much worse manner than any scene Bang Bros could produce. Yet Mia provides to feel specific examples of this, and many people would see it's not a very fair criticism because she's quite literally committing haram on camera, yet not really giving any examples of anything that Hollywood has done that is to the same degree. To make things worse, the this was around the exact same time that she separated from her husband. But there actually were some people who defended what Mia did. A lot of people felt like they were completely overreacting and that sending Mia death threats was completely over the top. Not being proud Lebanese after reading all the stupid comments about Mia Khalifa. Leave this girl alone. This is her life. Nasri Atala, a British and Lebanese author, defended Mia by saying that all women should be free to completely do what they want with their bodies. The moral indignation is wrong for two reasons. First and foremost, as a woman, she is free to do as she pleases with her body. As a sentient human being with agency who lives halfway across the world, she is in charge of her own life and owes absolutely nothing to the country where she happened to be born. In the Western world, where people don't really hold the same religious values as Muslims, people weren't really as outraged by it. But that didn't mean Mia wasn't controversial in the US to some degree. You'd think that this would make Mia too hot or too risky of a person to work with in the industry, but actually it was quite the opposite. Because ironically, Mia was also somewhat becoming popular in the same countries that she was banned from. From January 3rd to January 6th, when all this controversy was really popping, a quarter of the searches for her videos came from those in Lebanon. Mia's name skyrocketed in all the categories. Now, the president of the dirty site X Hamster said the outrage it caused in the Arab world ended up being a bit of a Streisand effect. Suddenly, everyone was searching for her. The effort to censor her only made her more ubiquitous. That year, Mia became the most searched for actress on the hub. A brewery in Lebanon even capitalized on her popularity by having an ad where they put her iconic glasses next to a bottle with the slogan, "Don't worry, both are 18+." And in the adult film industry, all publicity is good publicity. So the company that actually owned Bang Bros, WGCZ, actually prompted to sign a long-term contract with Mia so they could keep milking money off her implanted mommy milkers. And so she officially signed a contract with them where she would film a few scenes each month. However, out of nowhere, she had a change of heart and completely decided to resign, marking her end of 3 months in porn. The negative attention Mia was getting got to her head and she reached her breaking point. It was an eye-opener for me. I don't want any of this, whether it's positive or negative, but all of it was negative. Now, she didn't completely separate from Bang Bros. She did still work for them as a cam girl. This way, she could make money from her image without getting completely naked. It's estimated that she did this until around 2017 when she left the industry for good. Mia wanted to leave this whole industry thing behind her and try to get a normal job. But that would be a little bit difficult since she was recognized everywhere. Interviewers would know who she is by just a simple Google search. Eventually, she got a job as a paralegal and then a job as a bookkeeper. But both of these didn't work because of the nasty attention that she got from her coworkers and from her boss. Mia realized that getting a normal job just simply wasn't going to be possible for her. To make matters worse, Mia claimed that going out in public was a complete nightmare. People would often put their phones in her face and even try to grab her. Mia was stained with her past, but there was hope. By the end of 2017, Complex of all people actually reached out to her to host a new show with basketball player Gilbert Arenas. This was just the opportunity that Mia was looking for, as she was a very big sports fan and was very knowledgeable. This would give her a gateway out of the industry that scarred her past and into an industry that she felt a lot more passionate about. Things seemed like she would finally get away from her reputation, but she was wrong. Even though Mia was pretty knowledgeable in sports, people were a lot more focused on Mia's past work. And soon enough, she would get DMs from tons of athletes. People like Wilson Contreras, Chad Kelly, Duke Williams, and more. All of which she posted on her Twitter. So while she was exposing people for trying to slide in, she also wasn't really helping herself get away from the past either by making this giant spectacle. She was only on the show for 3 months, ironically the exact same amount of time that she did porn for, and hosted a different show, Sports Spell, with the network Rooster Teeth. But this ended by the end of 2018. And even though it's been 3 years at this point since Mia got naked on camera in any type of way, her videos were still pretty popular. In 2018, she was still the #1 most searched for actress on the hub. It's absolutely wild how she garnered such a mainstream persona despite only being in the industry for 3 months. But one of the things that really sparked up Mia's persona in the mainstream was the diss track that was aimed towards her by the group I Love Friday. This song was inspired by one of Mia's tweets that was targeted at one of the rappers. She's so disrespectful to all Muslim women and gives us a bad image. Seeing at how clearly ironic and hypocritical the tweet is, the group decided to make an entire diss song towards her. The thing is, that initial tweet was completely fake. It was a fake tweet that was very obviously a meme. The group somehow thought it was real and they made this entire song responding to Mia over it. They dropped the song in 2018 and initially the song did go viral because of the hilarity of the song, but it ended up being an extremely big hit on TikTok, which is probably what you know the song for. And if you were a TikTok user to some degree, then you know that this was a huge anthem around 2018 to 2019. For a lot of people, the song is actually oddly nostalgic. The song was used in millions of videos and got hundreds of millions of views in the app. The popularity brought the song up to a top 50 placement on the Spotify charts and got the video on YouTube to over 140 million views, which is pretty fucking crazy. Even though this track is initially known as That TikTok Song, there were a lot of people who saw that Mia Khalifa tweet and thought it was real, and then then threw a ton of hate at her. Now, it's not confirmed if I Love Friday knew the tweet was fake. I have a feeling they do personally, but there was a lot of unnecessary hate thrown at Mia from this song. Even when the duo found out the tweet was fake, they did not apologize and even said that Mia should be thanking them for basically giving her a ton of publicity.
I mean, if anything, it's helping her. It's getting her like more publicity.
Yeah, and we're all about helping
like,
people.
You're
like,
welcome.
But if you're watching this, Mia Khalifa, look, we will help you out in any way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying? We will help you out. But look, you can't be hating like that.
Yeah.
And that goes for anybody. You just can't be hating like that.
Pretty cocky to say that someone should be thanking you when you basically just made them look like a complete idiot for no reason. Now, initially, Mia kept her mouth shut when the song was going viral. Now, in the end, Mia did really get the last laugh because this song was really the only amount of success that group really had. They weren't even like a one-hit wonder, they were a one-verse wonder. However, at this time, Mia found herself at an extreme low point. She was famous, but not in the good way. She was banned from her country, her family disowned her. She couldn't even walk down the street without getting the weirdest, creepiest looks. She was getting clowned on the internet day by day. Her DMs were filled with the creepiest and weirdest hate messages, and she could barely even make money off of this. So, Mia finally decided to speak up and go to war with the industry. In 2019, Mia Khalifa shocked the world when she revealed that from her entire time doing adult films, she only made $12,000. This was such a huge bombshell because Mia was so well known for her work that people thought that $12,000 was just so low. People thought that at this point she was a millionaire because of just how famous she was. But because Mia has been famous for so long for her past, people also thought that she still did adult films to this day. But most people don't really realize that she did actual porn for only 3 months. So it was very confusing. Mia would further speak out against the industry in an interview with BBC News. She claims that she was heavily intimidated into doing the infamous hijab scene, claiming that when it was pitched to her, she said, "You guys are going to get me killed."
You guys are gonna get me killed.
And they said,
They just laughed.
why didn't you then say, I'm not doing it?
Intimidation. I was scared.
But
I knew that if I said no, it would, you know, they're not going to force you to do it. At that point, that's rape. No one's going to force you to have sex. But I was still scared. I mean, have you ever felt scared not scared, but nervous to speak up and say something at a restaurant when your food's not right and the waiter comes by and says, "How is everything?" I was intimidated, I was nervous.
Overall, Mia claims that she was the victim of a very manipulative industry and she's suffering all the consequences while they are getting all the profit.
so these guys, they just saw you, frankly, as a money machine.
Absolutely.
But you still had no advisors, you had no lawyer, you had no nothing. So
What 21-year-old has a lawyer on retainer?
This interview gave Mia a lot of press, with one of the segments alone getting over 18 million views on YouTube. At this time, Mia also started to do a lot more appearances and more podcasts to share her story. And from this, people were now starting to see her in a positive light. And to make things better, she got herself a new boyfriend who was professional chef Robert Sandberg. They were able to bond pretty well because Robert had no idea who she was and was not aware of her past. This gave Mia the confidence to hop back on social media, specifically on TikTok. It was on TikTok where she gave people a different side that no one has ever really seen of her before. She would further talk about her regrets and trauma through jokes, claiming that she was manipulated into signing a contract with Bang Bros. But she also used her platform for lots of activism. She posted lots of videos during the Black Lives Matter movement, which gave people lots of respect. She even auctioned off her iconic glasses and donated all of the funds to the victims of the 2020 Beirut explosion. This made tons of people actually come out to defend Mia Khalifa.
Say it with me. Mia Khalifa was manipulated into doing porn and she only made $12,000 even though her videos have over 800 million views. She is probably the biggest known name in the entire porn industry, and yet she only did porn for 3 months. She uses her platform to speak out about Black Lives Matter. She is a bad bitch. We love her. We support Mia Khalifa. We stand Mia Khalifa. And if you still see her as a sex symbol, fuck you.
People had a completely different side of sympathy for Mia. They also saw her as the victim of a very, very evil and manipulative industry. Eventually, an entire petition was made on change.org for Bang Bros to remove all of the videos that had Mia in them. Pretty soon, this petition got nearly 2 million signatures. But at this point, Bang Bros finally felt like they had the need to respond. Not with an apology, but actually creating an entire website debunking every single one of Mia's statements one by one. With her claim that she made only $12,000 while being in the industry for 3 months, Bang Bang Bros claimed that she actually made nearly $180,000 while being in the industry for 2 years and 9 months. Now doing the math, that's around $5,393 a month. And for salary, that's around $65K a year, which is decently higher than the average Miami salary at the time, which was $47,000. So according to them, Mia was actually making above average money. It seems like Mia was being kind of deceptive. Maybe in one 3-month span, she only did make $12,000. Mia argued that it was unfair that Bang Bros made continuous money over the years while she simply got no royalties. But the way that it works in that type of industry is that usually the actors are paid by the scene. The usual payment is $1,000 per scene. It's pretty standard. That means if you did one scene every day, you would get $365,000. Now, I don't think anyone's that ambitious, but you could in theory. So if Mia did around one scene a week for 3 months, then the money adds up. Now, you could make the argument that actors should start to negotiate royalties for their videos in perpetuity. It's what a lot of famous actors in TV shows and movies do, but this initial deal was what Mia signed to, and it is very standard. Mia also claimed that she only did 12 scenes total, but Bang Bros showed the actual proof that she did 28. So assuming that $178,000 covers her times during the 28 scenes and her time as a cam girl, I'd assume she did pretty well. But this also does not include the money that she made with other agencies at the time and what she made doing nude modeling. So she probably made more than that. Now, in regards to her claim of being manipulated into a contract, they actually claim that Mia was the one who wanted to negotiate a longer term than they initially pitched, and she was the one who actually negotiated the terms. There's even footage of Mia bragging about how she was able to negotiate a contract for only doing one scene a week.
6 to 10 scenes, you guys! I'm on contract with Bang Bros now for 6 months. I'm only shooting with Bang Bros. 1 scene a week.
In regards to her being intimidated to film the infamous hijab scene, Bang Bros claimed that she had a lot of creative control over every single idea and was behind everything that was made, as well as dropping another video where she brags about this.
All of my scenes will be on there. My scenes from now on will be on there. I'm running the whole thing. I write everything on it. All the descriptions are me. All the scenes are my idea. It's basically like my dump site for all of my dirty fantasies, and Bang Bros is letting me do all of them. Like, I come to them with my fantasy and my, I guess, alter ego. I get to, like, live them out and document them and put them on the site.
And again, initially Mia defended the video morally and made jokes about all the people who were sending her death threats. Now she's saying that she was intimidated and borderline forced to make it? Mia claims on social media that she was manipulated and underpaid, yet also in interviews she also claims that she never had a terrible contract and also completely understood how these contracts worked.
It's not like I had a terrible contract or a terrible manager. Not that I didn't have a manager or an agent.
At all?
No.
No advisors, nothing at all?
No.
You became the #1 star in this business. You had no residuals, no rights whatsoever to get any sort of recompense for your popularity?
None. None whatsoever.
And is that, to this very day, is that the way porn contracts work?
Absolutely, for everybody. Everyone, male, female, everyone who comes in.
Mia also claimed that when she was coming out with all these accusations that Bang Bros was intentionally pushing her videos to capitalize on all the drama. But Bang Bros also denied this, claiming that it's actually Mia's drama that's causing all this traffic to her videos. Even showing a Google Trends graph that shows her increase in Google searches whenever she starts some drama. And as you can see, there's very large spikes whenever she makes headlines. In 2018, she had tons of searches when she claims that a hockey puck struck her in the boob and popped her implant. In 2019, her searches went up when she claims that she only made $12,000. And in 2020 when she attacked Bang Bros. On top of all this, Bang Bros has sent her a cease and desist letter, and ever since then, Mia has been pretty quiet about the corporation. She does continue to talk about how evil the industry is, but does not call out Bang Bros by name. But regardless, this whole entire fiasco boosted Mia Khalifa's social media career. By the end of 2020, she had over 15 million followers on TikTok and already had a pretty big audience on Instagram and Twitter. And as of right now, she has nearly 40 million followers on TikTok. With all of this hype, Mia decided to capitalize on the moment by dropping an OF. This was met with a lot of jokes before because a lot of people were saying that they've already seen this movie before, if you catch my drift. Now, Mia did claim that she was never going to post nude content on this platform, but eventually she would change her mind, only posting nudes of the top half. And she would make some pretty big fat stacks from this, making it her main source of income. It was rumored that she made $6 million a month from that, but she completely denied it.
Your moneymaker is OnlyFans.
Yes.
Where you're also extremely popular. I mean, I've seen in interviews, I think someone once asked you, like, do you make $10,000 a day? And I don't remember if you said yes, but I think you're like, it's in the neighborhood of that. Or I've seen stories that suggested like $6 million a month. Like, just really, is that not?
Oh my God, no.
No?
That's insane. No, that's like Googling someone's net worth. That's never accurate.
Those aren't true?
No, of course not.
Now, initially, she did get a lot of backlash for this because it seemed very hypocritical. She literally was just bashing the adult film industry for being evil, yet she turns around and starts selling her body online. But Mia claims that being on OF was a way for her to get full control of her content unlike before. Instead of being an employee, she was going to be an entrepreneur. Right now, I feel empowered by my OnlyFans because I do things my own way on there. There's no nudity. I don't do what people expect when they get on there. I post fun, beautiful pictures that make me feel empowered. And it also makes me feel powerful to block people who say rude things to me. It's a wonderful feeling to be able to say no or tell the ones who say, I could get this for free on the internet to fuck off. Great, then go online and look it up. Now again, Mia does show nudity on her OF, so I don't know why she constantly claims that she doesn't. And don't get me wrong, she does make a good point about owning your content unlike before. I think that's great, but there's still a lot of contradictions with what she previously claimed about why she hated the industry. With OF, she claims that she doesn't have to deal with the shady people of the industry, but those do exist in the world of OF too, believe it or not. There's lots of cases of predatory management companies who sign up young and vulnerable girls to make money off of their content. If you watched my video on Jack Doherty, you would know that he actually was one of the people who did this. He had a giant roster of girls that he signed up super young and had them all make content that was directly marketed towards kids to sell them their OF. So OF has lots of those shady people that prey upon young women as well. It's pretty gross. Lots of people on OF specifically market their content to younger people, and it's gotten to the point where people who are underage have used fake identification to sell their content on OF because they wanted some of that big money. They're influenced by all these girls that are making millions of dollars driving around fancy cars with big mansions, and they want some of that. And even then, the claims that Mia had against those shady people in the industry were mostly proven wrong. She had control, she made as much or as little content as she wanted to, and then she left on her own terms. Now, one of Mia's claims about why the industry was so evil was how it was linked to trafficking, but OF is also linked to that as well. But one of the biggest problems that Mia had with the adult film industry was that she claimed that it caused men to objectify her and ruined her reputation.
The stares I get, I feel like people can see through my clothes, and it brings me deep shame. It makes me feel like I lost all right to my privacy, which I did because I'm one Google search away.
Yeah.
But the question is, how would doing OF change that? One of the only differences seems to be the amount that she's getting paid. And while we don't know how much she actually is making, she is one of the top earning creators. So it's gotta be a decent amount. Even under agreed conditions, when she wasn't making nearly as much as she wanted to, the industry was evil and manipulative. But when she was making more money, suddenly it's empowering. Now, Mia has admitted to how hypocritical this is, but she claims that she does it so that she doesn't influence younger people to get involved in it. It is contradictory of me to be on something and tell other people, no, don't join. But I'm not saying don't join. I'm saying don't join so young. Don't join as an answer to all of your problems. Just don't do something you could regret. The internet is forever. But if her mission was to show younger girls to not get into it while they're younger, this doesn't really make much sense either. Continuing to be in an industry and profit off of it that you joined initially when you were younger is not really encouraging anybody to stay off of it, especially when she keeps using the same exact stage name that she used when she claims she was being exploited. If Mia's goal really was to show how evil the industry was and to encourage younger people not to join, she would ditch the industry as a whole, ditch the fake name, and just leave altogether. Mia's trying to make it seem like it's this super deep thing, but in reality, she just wants money. And I'm not gonna hate on that, just admit it. Mia even celebrated her 1-year anniversary of being on OF, showing just how proud she was of it. This year overall was good with her, even though she split with her husband that year. That same year, she then got into a relationship with rapper and singer Jacob, but then they split up in 2022. It was at this point that Mia was getting better reception, and she just decided to completely lean into the persona. In 2022, she announced a partnership with Playboy, and in 2023, she created the body jewelry brand Shaitan, which is basically Arabic for Satan. Initially, she didn't really get a lot of backlash for this branding because people were so used to her edgy persona, but Mia still would land herself in controversy. Now, on October 7th of 2023, when Hamas invaded Israel, Mia tweeted something that was pretty not so good out of context. Can someone please tell the freedom fighters in Palestine to flip their phones and film horizontal. Now, regardless of what side you are, this is a pretty wild thing to say when it's literally happening in real time. It did not read the room very well. Now, Mia would clarify that this was in support of Palestine and was not intentionally to mock anybody, but regardless, this caused Playboy to completely terminate their partnership as they found her comments disgusting. Now, in response to this, Mia tweeted this: "I'd say supporting Palestine has lost me business opportunities, but I'm more angry at myself for not checking whether or not I was entering into business with Zionists. My bad." The very next year, Mia would get into controversy again by claiming that she had ADHD, OCD, and was autistic.
I identify as a bit of a nerd, and I see certain nerd-like qualities in you.
It's the autism.
Right, okay. Were you joking when you said that you are autistic or have
No,
autism?
very much not joking.
Well,
but since I was in high school, I got diagnosed with ADHD in the 7th grade and then OCD and autism in high school.
She says that she was diagnosed in middle school and in high school, but there's not really a lot of proof of this, nor has she ever mentioned it before. It's a very random thing to just casually mention after all of these years. And I don't think anyone has ever gotten the impression that she was autistic. I'm not an expert, so I'm not going to assume if this is true or not. I'll let you guys be the judge of that. But to this day, Mia still stands on the story that she has always told. She was a young, innocent girl that was initially offered to do nude modeling, was manipulated into the adult film industry, got underpaid and exploited, and her life was completely ruined by them. While I don't think it's fair to say that Mia isn't some type of victim to some degree, she definitely does not take any accountability, because the story that she tells is not even remotely accurate to what's true. Mia started posting explicit stuff on Reddit with her husband for free for the sick thrill of it. She worked as a stripper in college to make side money. She had an interest in joining the film industry way before she actually did it, saw the opportunity to do nude modeling and took the chance. She signed an upfront deal with Bang Bros with terms and conditions that were transparent, did a scene wearing her hijab that she knew was offensive, got unexpectedly famous for it, used the fame to negotiate a contract in her favor but then left when she couldn't handle the hate, regretted her decisions when she tried to live a normal life but couldn't. When all else failed, she completely blamed the industry to get pity from the public, and then went on to do OF when it was convenient and profitable for her. I do think Mia is a victim to an extent of her manipulative husband, who basically was interested in her when she was a teenager, and who was addicted to porn, according to Mia. Without her husband, I genuinely do not know if she probably would have gone down this lane. And while the scene that she did make was very offensive, I don't think it's okay to make death threats to someone, because those are essentially what ruined her chance at living a normal life, and no one deserves that. And the fact that Bang Bros did make hundreds of thousands of dollars from her videos while she only made $12K does show it wasn't a good deal. But even then, Mia seems to not take any accountability. It's okay to make bad decisions and then condemn those decisions, but at the end of the day, no one forced her to sign those contracts. No one forced her to make those scenes. She literally left on her own terms. But now she's getting stupid rich, making more money than most people will ever see in their entire life, all from an industry that she claimed is evil and ruined her life.